We are now officially on the air and recording. I was told the scrolling problem is a bug and they're working on it. It probably is, because it is different now. The scrolling stuff is not as intuitive as it was at one point. But again, that's why they got that big beta sign over there somewhere. Hey, Ben, we don't let anybody in right now, man. Sorry.
I'm going to lock this
why. We'll explain why in just a second. Yep. I'm Stan, and this is Ron, and this is what was formerly called the 25 minutes on how to use Blab, no Blabbus Interruptus, but it's going to be changed to 1 hour. What we've decided we're going to work on is a 1 hour thing. Yeah, thanks, Ben. I just do this right here and just do that. Thanks, Ben. See you. All right, so this is 25 minutes on how to use Blab is what it was formerly called, but we moved it to an hour. And just so you know, my whole deal is, if Ben would have said something like, you know, I just don't like language. That's all. You know, it's a matter of fact, I'm going to delete that. Yeah. Yeah, because especially when somebody says something like that, because they normally wouldn't say that in person. So anyway, the Blab is here to help people use Blab. It's 25 minutes long, or was 25 minutes long, and it's fast-paced with a clear goal. We want to give you the confidence to use Blab. We don't answer many questions from the audience. We show you how to use Blab, and that's it. We ask that you hold all questions until the end. And then today, with the format that we're doing now, since we're running an hour long, we're going to go through the two sections of how to use Blab at the very beginning. We may take a couple of questions in between, if they're short questions about how to use Blab. And then Ron's going to go into how to host a Blab. And then we'll take a longer session there on how to host a Blab. And what we're really trying to do is get as many questions answered as we possibly can, because we can go through this part, you know, pretty quickly. Who we are, we're the Circadians. We're a concept community. And if somebody wants to put down where they can download this, put that URL down there. The Circadians are a concept community. Our community isn't built around individuals. We live, work, and thrive in a guru-free zone. Everybody is equal. Everybody matters, and everybody has their own special gifts. To some of those gifts is greater than the individual. We create event-driven, outcome-oriented business-building platforms like broadcasts, websites, content, things like that. And specifically, like in this case, the event is what you're looking at right now. The outcome-oriented, meaning that at the end of this, we want you to go and be able to go to other Blabs and use them and host a Blab if you decide to. And so that's what the outcome of that is. That's what our desired outcome is. And business-building platforms, well, those are things that you have to work out exactly how you're going to use it to build your business. The rules of Blab. The Blab doesn't really have any rules, but the Blab team has created some agreements that they would like the community to go by. And so pay attention to them. And that's what they say on their site. To respect each other, to honor the viewer's time, let others talk, don't be an awful person to be around, argue the person, or argue the point, not the person. And the host sets the rules to the party unless they conflict with these rules. And what that really means, the one that we point out the most is to argue the point and not the person. If you've got something to say, then, you know, don't do like Ben did and call names, because that just doesn't work for us. First things first, we want to thank some of the people that's helped us, like Roxanne Davenport and Mark Burris, and Eileen Smith is an excellent resource. And Robert Stern, who visits us from time to time. And those are the guys. If you download the PDF, you'll see some of the people that we're talking about. And we are working on a new version of the PDF. Okay, so let's get started with what's going on here. Hi, Aton. I hope I pronounced that right. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see a little bird. If you click that bird, you'll see a dialog box. Put your mouse in the box and type the Circadians. Put your mouse in the box and type Circadians. And when you post tweet, you'll be sending a tweet to everyone that follows you on the Twitter. You don't have to put Circadians in there, but if you click on it right now, you'll notice that down on the right-hand side, it'll say 98/110. And that means that you've got another 12 characters that you could actually, yes, he is. Robert usually is. But if you put you can put 12 more characters in that tweet before you send it out. Hello, Rodrigo. Giving props. So if you do that and you hit post tweet, it'll send it out to your followers. Okay, now we're going to go over giving props. And giving props is like if you roll over Ron's picture right now and double click on it like I am, you'll see these little bubbles coming up. And those little bubbles means that I'm giving props. He might have said something that I liked or that I agreed with. And by doing that, it kind of like, I think Rodrigo just gave me a couple of props. Let's talk about business from human to human. Yeah, I'll follow him. We're going to get into that, what those bios are. I'm going to look at this other one too. Retha, I'm going to look at yours in just a second, Retha, and we're going to talk about that bio. Giving props, though, it's a way to agree with people of about what they say or about what they do or anything like that. They don't add up. They don't accumulate at the end of the blab. They just go away. Your blab profile, that's what we're going to talk about. Your blab profile matches your Twitter profile. When you first log into Blab, it looks at that API and it picks up that stuff from Twitter, and that's what your Blab profile becomes too. But it doesn't have to be. You can change it to better suit the message that you might want to convey over here on Blab. Blabbers roll over each other's profiles to find out about them. Like I rolled over Rodrigo's and I see, let's talk about business from human to human. Yeah, that kind of captures me. That what I would probably do in that though, Rodrigo, as we show how this works, is I would probably put a link to my website or a link to my, Twitter. Well, your Twitter account's already there with the little bird. If you click on the little bird, it'll take you to somebody's account so you can read a little bit more about them. But you might put a link down there that says, here's my website, go read more about me or something like that. That works. And then on Retha, that looks like it is. It's Melanie. Hey, Melanie. Retha De Beer, Banting Club SA, connecting people in South Africa with banting and low carb solutions. And she's got a link down here for me to find out what banting is. So I'm going to follow her because I want to figure out what banting is, just because of when I read what she's talking about, banting and low carb solutions. It's the combination of those two. Hi, Michael. It's the combinations of those two that make me go, well, I wonder what that's about. But the way that you get to your profile is you roll over your picture, and on your picture there you'll see your name. And if you click on your name, it will take you to your profile. And from your profile, you can get it to it from two ways. You can type in, your profile is always going to be blab.im/your name. And when you get there, you're going to see, you'll see a little picture up on the top right-hand side that says, Ron, let me ask you a question, Ron. Do you see me in that top square? That's what kind of stuttered me there for a minute, because do you see yourself in the top?
Alongside of me?
Yeah, I don't see myself up there anymore.
You're in the top left square, yeah.
Yeah, I am now, but I was looking across the top bar, and that kind of threw me off for a minute because I wasn't there for a second. So I was wondering, it was one of them things where like I was wondering whether or not we actually exist, one of those things, So anyway, when you go to your profile, on the top right-hand side, there's a picture of you. And if you click on profile, it'll kick you out of this. So what you'll do is you'll click on settings, and you can do that now without changing anything or without kicking you out of here. You'll see your name. There's a field there that says full name. You can change your name there if you want to. Don't change the email address because it's associated with that API over there on how you get it. At least I think that it is. I'm probably going to set up an account and experiment a little bit with that. But the next question is bio. And so you put in the bio the things that you think would make people follow you or would get them interested in you. And the next one is there a little thing that says image, and choose file. And if you choose a different file, you can change your image of what people see up there on your avatar or on your profile picture. There's also some things on here that for notifications, you can turn on notifications when somebody follows you, when a friend joins Blab, goes live, or schedules a Blab. There's also a thing down there for push notify me, which is that's how you know when somebody follows you or when a friend of yours joins Blab. Or you can do this. You can check the box that says when my friend goes live. There, and the notifications is all up to you, but I will tell you that you will mess with those once you learn how those work, because if you do it when a friend goes live and you're following 300 people and 300 people start a Blab, believe me, it gets hard to follow them at that point. So you can't really follow all of them. On that same page, there is your profile is going to show you the number of days that you've been on Blab. It also will show you the number of days that somebody else has been on Blab. In other words, if I want to look at, we've been followed by Negative Guy. That's what is that guy? House. Looks like House. House is in the house. I've never said that before, but I like that show. But when I roll over him, and if I want to see how many days he's been on Blab, all I have to do is click on his name, and it'll take me to his profile, and I can see right there he's been on Blab for 39 days. And as a matter of fact, he follows some of the same people that I follow. I know Annie, she's a writer, person that helps people with writing. You'll also be able to see the Blabs that they have already been in, like that are available for replay. If you want to look at some of these, and you can go there and look at the replays. You can also look and see who they're following and who is following them. On yours, you can look at the followers' profiles to see if the follow is mutual. You can't see it from the people that you're following, but you can look at your followers' profiles and make a decision on whether or not you want to follow that person, whether or not you want to follow that person or not, and see if it's mutual. How you can participate. Each Blab's got 4 blabbers, including the host. The host sits in the top left-hand square normally. It's not always true, but the host determines how many seats will be open. And they also decide if there will be rotating blabbers. In other words, you can lock the seat, which you don't see anywhere down at the bottom right now on how to join. But Ron's going to cover more of the hosting stuff in the second portion here. Comment stream on the right-hand side, you'll see like Michael is the question that Nina just asked. As a matter of fact, now's a good time to put the Q up there to tell them how to ask a question. If you put a /Q over there where it says send a message and hit enter, it will bring up that question. It'll like that. Exactly like that, Rodrigo. And what that does is that brings the attention over to the host or whoever. Like in our case, we have what we call a wrangler. Ron's the wrangler here, and he can say, hey, you need to take a look at this question. Somebody's got a question over here. Now, up on the top, you'll see a thing that says all messages and mentions. Now, there used to be a tab which they've said they're going to return that will have the questions up there. So you could actually, because somebody tagged it as a question, as a host, you could go up there and look at the questions. And so, yeah, that's exactly right. So you could go up there and look at the question, all of the questions in the stream at one time and answer them. So that was, and they're going to bring it back, and they say that there's going to be a little bit more power to that. Although I'm not part of the team, so I don't know. Also over there, if you scroll over, okay. I'm not quite sure whether or not I pronounced your name right, Vivane, but put / no space Q and a space, and go ahead and do that now. And then we'll see because we like this because it will help you. And what is our goal? Which we try to deliver on that promise is that when you leave here, yep, you got it. So that when you leave here, you can go somewhere and interact with people and enjoy Blab rather than kind of, feeling like a third wheel or something sometimes. Now I'm going to roll over a Vivane where it says, yep, got it. And when I roll over there, I see a little 1, and I'm going to click that star right there next to it, and that 1 will turn to a 2. And so that's how you can interact with people who are in the side chat over there or in the side comment to be able to say, what you just said was cool, or what you just said was, I agreed with it. Or sometimes people will do that to bring attention to something because they want the host to take a look at it. Now, also next to that is, if you roll over that, you will see, or any of the ones over on the side, like answering Vivian, does it open the name like in Twitter? I'm going to answer that question right now. When you roll over that name, when I roll over that question that you just did, there's a little arrow. When I click on that arrow, it automatically puts your name in the comments so I can say yes, and I can answer that question directly back to you. Now, one of the things that's nice about that is that means you don't have to, keep looking up there to figure out how to type it in or remember what the actual username is. The other good thing about it is that when you go to mentions, you'll see, like I go down here and I see that Michelle, I was told the scrolling problem is a bug when they're working on it. So I know I can go back over and look. If you're whoever you're logged in as, if you click on mentions right now, you'll see anytime that somebody has mentioned you. Rodrigo, you'd see where I replied to your message. So that's another good thing about having that up on the top. And then also across the top, you'll see, or over on the comments section. Yep. Yeah. The mentions. The other thing about it is that across the top, hi, Boomy. Boomy is cool, by the way. It's real cool. If you look across the top here, you'll see the people who are in it. Hey, John and Jewel Ray, Liquid Life and Avatar Convergence. I'm going to have to ask you what that is. Virtual assistant to avatar handler. I'm going to have to find out what that is. But anyway, I'm going to follow her because I'm just interested in figuring out what that is. And I do go back and look at the people that I followed and figure out, try to engage with them at some point. But anyway, that across the top, that's the people that are in it. You'll see in the Blab, you'll see a 42, you'll see an eyeball, and you'll see a 20. 20 is the number of people who are in here right now. 42 are the people who have been through. And then the little I, if you click on that, will bring up a list of the total viewers, everybody that's in here right now, 43 total viewers. And the people who are in here right now, you can scroll down and look. Why am I not following John? I am now. But when you scroll down, you will see the people who are in here. And you'll be able to follow them from that list as well. Now, at the very, very bottom of that on mine, it says 4 visitors. What that tells me is that up on the top right-hand side on that list that's now extended to the right from me, there is a number. That 4 means that there are 4 people that are viewing this from the web. They're not logged in with their Twitter account. They're just viewing it from there, because you can watch a Blab without having a Twitter account, which is one of the benefits of using Blab. And then the last thing I've got here, we've done the arrow, we've done the Q, we haven't done the help, right? He's going to show you what to type in, but do not type this in. But he's going to show you, if you type in @help and you're having an issue here, and yeah, that's, if you type in that @help, somebody from Blab will come in and help. That's what it is. It's calling their tech support team Blab. Yeah. I see that. Also, Vivian, if you would have put in that question, I don't know how to get my website link in my profile. Hope you can cover that too. If you'd have put that Q in front of it, that would have made it easier to find it over there. Yeah, it's really funny. We all do that. We all type it. But sometimes that brings them in. Sometimes they don't. The more times that you cry wolf, and in here we do get people crying wolf, like that all the time. So it's possible that they decided not to come. They should learn to look for toes of love. Yes. And so now I think that's it for me. I think Ron's going to go over on how to host. If anybody's got any questions, we'll take a couple of questions before we get into the hosting thing. What we're really trying to do is cover. We noticed that there was a lot of hosting questions that would come in here. So we've decided to combine these 2 events with the one that we're together. We were doing before.
Are we doing the hosting first before we take questions?
How about
we're going to open up a floodgate, I think, if you start taking questions.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and start then? And I'll mute myself.
Well, you don't have to, because you might have something important to say. Because
me?
Because
obviously.
I'm gonna go right down here, since Stan covered a lot of the things that are in the beginning of my file here. I'm going to go right to the start page of blab.im, and you're going to see it has on-air, schedule, and replays, and it brings up the blabs that are on air. To the left, you can you'll see tags there that you can click on. Now, if you click on those tags and you go to and then click on air, it'll bring up the on-air blabs that are going on pertaining to what you clicked and what the subject matter that you like. Same with scheduled. If you type in business and click on schedule, it'll bring up the blabs that are scheduled for business. Or you can you just put in all, and then it'll bring up all the blabs under whatever subject you type in on-air, scheduled, or replays. But if you go over to the right, you're going to see it says start a new blab, and your picture is there. But if you click on start a new blab, it's going to bring a drop-down box. It'll say start a new blab, your profile settings, and log out, just as Stan went over before. So you're going to click on start a new blab. And what you'll see is a box that says host a blab. And you'll be able to see a line there that you can type in the subject of your blab. When you start typing, you're going to see that numbers pop up to the right. You have a total of 80 characters that you can use. And as you type, it'll start counting down the characters that you're using. And so you can kind of edit that to keep it within the 80. 60 to 80 is probably a good number for a title for your blab. Once you fill in that title, another box will come up and it'll have tags there. Business, coaching, new blab, first time blab. Sometimes they change. Sometimes they're the same for quite a while. And I found that they do change them from time to time. You're allowed to pick 3. So when you pick 3 of those, or 1, however many you pick, down at the bottom of that, it'll say now, when do you want to go live, now or in the future? If you click now, your blab is going to start immediately. If you click in the future, another box is going to come up and it'll have a time, it'll have AM or PM, and underneath that, it'll have tomorrow or a date in the future. Now, with the time there, you just put in the time you want your blab to start, and don't forget to make it AM or PM whenever you want that to start. Because if you're scheduling an AM blab in the PM, it's going to be showing PM. You're going to have to change it to AM. Once you get the time, the schedule that you want, you just click on that box in the bottom that says schedule blab. And when you click on that, another box is going to come up and it'll have a countdown clock. It'll tell you the days, hours, minutes, and seconds until your blab starts. It'll have the information. If you have a photo there, it'll show the photo. And it'll have a start now button and an edit button. Anytime you want to, you can start that blab if you want to start it ahead of time. Or you can edit it. If you want to change the title, you can edit the blab, edit the time, whatever you want to do. Once you start a blab, you have to join it, and you will see the screen, and it's all black, like you've been seeing. And the top left, there's an edit button if you want to change the topic. The record button is it's a big red button, and when you start record, you will see a pause button. When you stop recording, that button goes back to resume recording, so you can resume it again. So you can stop and start the recording of your blab during your blab. You'll see that the Tell a Little Bird is in a black box with white lettering with the blue bird. And Stan went over that. You click on that, and it'll go out to your followers in Twitter. Now that you're in the blab, you can lock the other seat if you want. And like you saw that we have it locked. And it's just a padlock that's closed, and nobody can join the blab until we unlock that seat. when people join, you're going to see a white box appear with their name and their bio information, and a green check mark or a red X. If you click the green check mark, you're going to let them in one of those seats. And if you click the X, you're not going to let them in, and that will disappear. And you'll see the image of that person come in, and they'll join the seat. Now, if you roll over their name, you'll see to the left side, an H will pop up with a plus sign. You can make that person a co-host, and they have the same power and ability that you do as a host, except one thing. If they kick you out, you can get back in. But if you kick them out, they have to be left back in again. So, but other than that, if something were to happen to your connection and they're a co-host, they can continue on with the Blab and just like you were there. Now, the one thing when you click on that H and make them a co-host, that if they refresh, then you'll see that H pop up on the screen, like it is by my name and by Stan's name. Now, well, Stan went over the comment stream, so I'm not going to go over that again. He covered that very well. And as the host, like Stan mentioned before, you can click on anybody's picture across the top and you can get their information. And but one of the things as a host or a co-host, when you click on somebody's picture at the top and it opens up their box and gives you the information, you will see a red triangle in a circle. I call it a hazard sign. And if those people are causing trouble, you can click on that hazard sign and they're gone. Stan covered going over their profile and what the numbers meant at the top. So that is pretty much it as a host as to what you can do. I'm going to come back here to full screen on the Blab because it's easier for me to see what's going on. And there's a little bit more to it. I just want to mention a couple things as a host or a co-host. You know, sometimes you watch a Blab and people make it look easy. It really isn't difficult, but it takes time. And if you want to learn how to do it and you have a desire to become a co-host, contact Stan at the Circadians, and we'll kind of get you on a list. And we're working on some things right now that we can help you fulfill that. Okay, Stan, I think I covered pretty much of that. Now, if you want, I'll unlock the seat, and if people want to come in with questions, we can do that. Or I'll let you unlock it. Whatever you decide. I'm
going to unlock it right now. There's a couple of questions if they want to come in, like Vivain, if you want to come in, and there's Bill. Actually, we need to get Bill and a couple of those in to kind of tell. Bill is a Circadian, and he is down in Belize, and he's going to tell us about him.
Well, good morning, guys.
Hey, guy.
Another great presentation. A couple of little things in the comments stream that I noticed were overlooked that I thought I'd bring up and mention, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
One is the dark and the light.
That's right.
That's kind of my thing.
We were testing you, Bill, and you passed.
Yeah. It was a test. That's right. We were just checking to see if you were going to bring it up again.
Well, very good. So people will notice that last week there were some upgrades, and when you tune into a Blab now, you'll find the black background and white writing. If you find that hard to read like I do with my old eyes, you can change it back to the old format by simply typing /light with an L. And if it is light and you prefer dark, type /dark, and that will change that background for you. The other thing that I thought was pretty cool that I stumbled upon last week was putting the comment stream underneath of the blab. And if you minimize your window to half the width, once you get about half the width of your screen, you'll lose the Tweedledee bird on the left, but the comment stream on the right will move underneath of the blab, similar to an HOA or using, mobile for blab. And personally, I prefer that myself. I thought that was pretty cool when I stumbled on that. And that's the only two things I noticed that were missing. Otherwise, yeah, everything was great. I think I could host a blab now.
He's kidding. He's already hosted a blab. Who's he kidding?
Yeah.
He's already hosted a blab. So there was a couple of questions though. Well, tell us a little bit about you first though. Tell us about what you're doing down in Belize.
Well, I'm in Belize. I'm a retired Canadian, so I'm an expat in Belize. I have a website to provide unbiased information on Belize for people who might be thinking about moving here or starting a new life here. A lot of the stuff you'll find on the internet is what I call sugar-coated, and I like to provide the unbelievable truth. So yeah, check out my website. It's on my profile at www.billdoesbelize.com and get the unbelievable truth. Connect with me. I love to help people, and that's basically what I do.
Yeah, he does it really well too, because he shares pictures of Belize every now and then, and he's got actually that video is just excellent. Have you got the URL to that video with you?
I could find it.
Yeah, grab it. Put it
the water slide video.
Yeah. Put that video in there. That video is actually it's crystal clear. It's just nice to watch.
Well, that was really my first attempt, so I hope they're going to get a lot better.
Well, if that's the first attempt, then that was really good. I thought it was very clear. That's what I liked about it. It wasn't like, fuzzy like most of my stuff looks like I got Vaseline or mayonnaise wrote, on my video or something. And so.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Okay, well, I'm going to jump out, let some other people come in, and
if Shelly's out there or Michelle, jump in. We'll get you in, and you can tell us about yourself and what you do.
While they're doing that, I'm going to tell you one of my favorite tips is if you'll notice right now, this is how I normally look. I look like I'm kind of looking down and something like that. But when you do what he's talking about, narrowing your browser down on the desktop, what happens is the images kind of move all together and move closer. You can move that closer to the middle and to the top, so it looks more engaging because it looks more like I'm looking straight at the camera right now. And so that's one of my favorite tips because I just like that part of it. I'm gonna let Michelle in.
Yeah, for those people out there that Stan made the comment, that's the way he normally looks and I normally look. We apologize for that, but we can't help it. You just have to put up with it.
Yeah,
you guys look great.
Thank you.
That and a buck will get you a coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah. See, and that's why she always gets in, folks. Just so you know, that's why she gets in whenever she wants the request in, because she always starts out with that. So that's
red, white, and blue.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. So tell us about you. What's going on with you?
Well, let's see. My mother has had dementia for 16 years, started at age 58. So I am very passionate about dementia support and awareness. I run a Facebook group that has about over 12,000 members, and we provide support and awareness to patients, caregivers, and advocates alike. So everybody is welcome. And I love to help people, and I love what you guys are doing. So I have recently joined the Circadians to learn and help.
And what do you think has been the best thing about joining us so far? Which I already know what the answer is going to be. What activity do you like the most?
I like getting together and sharing and learning together.
Mm-hmm. The clinics is what you're referring to.
Yes, and then I like what you do is the way you do the presentations are very easy to follow. You start at a beginner's level. So if someone comes in here and really wants to learn Blab and hasn't been on here, every day you go over the same things, but it's for everyone to learn from the bottom up. Very easy to follow.
Yep, that's that delivery on the promise thing. I mean, that's really what we're trying to do, is just make sure that everybody can enjoy it. Now we do have a couple of things that are coming out. The co-host, we have a thing called it's like a beta co-host program. You can find out more about it by sending going to learnblab.com/co-host. If somebody wants to put that down in the URL down there, because I can't type and talk at the same time. But if you'll put that URL down there, you can go there and you can ask.
I'm going to paste it in, but somebody said mine have been showing up as 404 error code, so I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I'll give it a shot.
That link had been showing up as a 404?
No, it was the other one, the first one, but I got the co-host here.
So if you go there, though, you can inquire about becoming a co-host, because we think. Well, I don't think I know that you can get a lot of training, but what we do is actually get you into a blab and work with you for an extended period of time, and it just becomes a whole lot easier. It's just easier when you got somebody there with you. That's all. How do you share a document in place of your face? Art is actually referring to Michael. And Michael is using, I don't know what he's using. I don't know whether he's using Cam Twist or if he's using ManyCam or Exact ManyCam in order to do that. There's a lot of people that do those kind of things. But what you find out, for me at least, is that when you're being a host, that you appreciate guys that are doing things like that. But that for me, I can't do that. And I'm more of a conversational person, and I like to be able to focus on the people that I'm talking with. But it's great when you do those kind of things. ManyCam's not hard. Yep, that's exactly right. It's more of a co-hosting thing. The host really does. And the co-host, really, when the co-host is doing that kind of stuff, the co-host has got quite a bit going on too, because there's questions, especially since they've taken that question deal away, because you can't really see those the questions over there. So he's right. Michael's.
Well, I'm going to pop out in case anybody else wants to come in.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing, as a co-host, like I've been popping back and forth, pulling links off to post, and you can't run a ManyCam and do that. And like I say, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I want to mention something about the Circadians and things that we do in the morning. And we have an afternoon clinic also at 2:00, but we go over things like how to use Google Keep, how to use Google Docs, how to take pictures and put them in the comment stream. If you have a problem that you're having with your computer or your website, maybe somebody's there that can help you. If you need a cartoon drawn, Lindsay can help you draw a cartoon, or he can do it for you. So there's a lot that we go over, and basically, like Stan said at the very beginning, we just get stuff done and in a short period of time. So that's my plug for the Circadians.
2 p.m. What he's talking about is that the Circadians in our community, we have 2 meetings a day. They're called the Circadian Clinics. There's one at 9:00 and there's one at 2 p.m. And if you'll go to learnblab.com if you just go to learnblab.com/learnblab and I'll get back in touch with you, or send an email. Put my email down there, Stan at thecircadians.com, and I'll get in touch with you and talk to you about how this works. But really what they play in there is, for me, and I can get some relief somewhere, they play Stump Stan. You can just kind of imagine. The way that I describe the way the clinics work is that if you were to go to college and say, this is what I want to learn today, and then that's what we do. If you've got something that you're trying to get done and you just can't, for some reason can't figure it out, we just stop what we're doing and we share the screen and we get that part done. That's exactly what it's about. I'm going to say something about the it's kind of stupid that you click on profile and can't adjust your profile. Well, you do have to. Yeah, when you click on profile, it's going to knock you out. That was a thing that I agree with you. It kind of threw me off there for a while. Every time I click on profile, it would kick me out of the blab. But if you hold down your control key, and click on your name, if you guys want to try this, if you're on a Windows machine, hold down the control key, and click on your name on your profile, and that will bring up your profile in the front there. Then continue to hold your control key down. You'll see that it springs up another window. So you can actually go over there and adjust that by going to your settings live right now while you're here. And then you can refresh and your settings will be there. We actually, I think it was Nazim did that yesterday as a demo, is that you can adjust it while you're in here and change your picture and change everything, come right back. There was another question in here. It was about preferring a screen share function built into Blab. Well, that's another reason why I've learned almost. I can't say that I don't want to quit learning, but as far as videos and things like that, that's not my forte anymore. I really want to get wrapped around the axle on that. So I heard in a town hall probably a month ago that when they were talking about Manicam and all the different tools that people were using within the Blabs, they mentioned that they were working on something that would, give them your own lower thirds, if you're familiar with that term in Hangout on Air. And so I think that they're going to bring out something that's similar to that, but I don't think they are ever going to do private, because they said they weren't. And I don't think they're ever going to compete or even attempt to compete with Hangout on Air. They're two different animals. And we use Hangout on Air. I still use a lot of Hangout on Air because I like it. Sean said yesterday that it's developing. What does that mean, Dutch? Why don't you come in and tell me, man? I don't know what you're doing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's he talking about?
Just tune in. Okay, today's Friday, Pacific Standard Time, 7:41 a.m. Tune in Saturday, Pacific Standard Time in the morning at the town hall meeting. And they're going to announce some new features and updates to Blab.
Yeah, they do those. They do that's Michael's talking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do the town hall every week, and they announce those whenever they're going to do it. They didn't announce the update the other day, and we were in the middle of a Blab, and the update came, and I did the refresh, and I was baffled. I was like, well, where is everything all of a sudden? And I'd spent some time doing screen shares at that day, but he's right. The town square, and you should also subscribe to Brittany's got an email, and if you subscribe to that email, it'll keep you abreast of stuff. What are you talking about? Hey, Dutch.
Hey, morning, fellas.
So we've been meeting like this every day, but now we actually get to see each other. That's pretty cool.
I would have dressed up a little bit more than I did. I have in honor of you guys, I have a tie hanging over it by my other, and it caught me off guard because I was gonna slip it over my head and tie it to go on to your show because you guys are so spiffy.
That's like close enough, Dutch.
Yeah, we're the only ones that have ties anymore, I think. From what I see out here.
Your brand, so I'll go with that. What I was saying is yesterday afternoon, Sean is also, let's see, that was Thursday. Sean is also takes part in a Blab called Tech Lunch with two other people. And a lot of times he will drop stuff in there. And when you were talking about the lower thirds and the screen sharing, he was saying that they're developing something that is going to blow our doors off, more or less, to do that. Because what he was saying is the screen sharing, Minicam, and all the other third-party apps out there are more or less crap. He didn't say it that way, but I couldn't. So,
I was waiting for that, Michael.
So Sean doesn't say it that way. He would have said, he might have actually said the four-letter word, the other one that starts with S, but he didn't. So,
yeah.
But they have moved the Blab town halls to Saturdays, I think.
Yeah, this Saturday.
And
24 hours, basically.
That's the changes that are going on.
Yeah, 24 hours from now should be around the time of the Blab town hall. So it might be Sunday for some people. It might be Saturday for some others, depending on where you're at in the world. But yeah, I was
schedule, and I can barely hear Michael, so don't. If I talk over, just pardon me.
Can I just want to mention a couple of things that Nina. I'm getting feedback from somebody. I don't know.
Let me get my earphones so I can hear. I'll kick out until I get.
All right.
She mentioned that, and I forgot that we do look for reviews, and she posted a link there, stanbush.net/reviews, and you can let us know what you think. Tell us what you'd like to hear, if we're on track, if we're not on track. We want to know it all. Let us know. We're not opposed to 1 star, 5 stars, whatever. But we would like to know your opinion and if we're headed in the right direction.
I'm going to today celebrate, put /Q and then the space, and then it'll show up as a question. If you just put /Q and hit space and then hit enter, you'll see the question thing show up, and then it'll be easy. It just becomes easier after that to do that.
Yeah,
I definitely should put a test range where you can test your webcam. Yeah, that's actually, to be honest with you, that's one of the things that we do in the that happens in that test zone. Like Michael said earlier, people do go into the test zone. Like he showed up one morning. I thought this was a test zone. Michael showed up in there so you can still see it.
If you type in actually,
do what?
To make it easier for people, if you type in blab.im/test zone,
yeah.
If you just go to that URL right now, actually I'll just do it so you guys can see.
Yeah, and it just launches a test thing.
Yeah, it'll create a test page just for you. So you don't have to do anything, it'll automatically do it. And once it actually loads, I think because I'm rendering a video right now, it might lag a little bit. Sorry. It's like a horrible demonstration. There we go. I can start it right now. And if I click start now my test is in place, and I can just test. It's not hidden, but it's an ability for you to test settings. And I'm always in the test zone trying to test stuff out.
Yeah, it doesn't show up on the front page, though. Like if you use the tag test-zone, which is there, that shows up on, that still gets broadcast and people will see it. And then some people will show up in there, but test zone does not show up on the front page, but you can still find it. There was something else.
There's a couple. One question that somebody had asked. They didn't type it in the form of a question, so I discovered it, and I can't find it now. But they said, "Could you talk about the difference between Hangouts and Blab?" No, we're not going to talk about that because that could be a discussion that could go on for hours. And
I was just going to answer that question.
Well, okay, folks. I'm going to let Stan answer it, and it'll go on for hours.
Yeah, that's why they
Hangouts isn't going away, and I don't think Blab's going away. But okay, I'm going to set my clock for 30 minutes. And
The answers to it really are that in my view, Blab is always going to be an easier platform, but there's some things that what they've said they're going to do is just not going to fit for somebody who is doing, is more of a and I'm not going to say more of a business thing because I don't believe that. I think that being transparent and being out there so that people can see what you're doing is very important business. But there is a difference between being able to have I have a domain model in Google Apps. So if I have a Google Hangout, I can absolutely keep anybody from coming in outside of my domain, period. And it just makes it easier for me to maintain the material once I create the material or record a Google Hangout. That is awesome, man. I love the time. But once I had to get dressed up. Once I record that, it's going to it's going to be maintained by the permissions within my domain. So if you've got like a large business, right, and you got a corporation where you got hundreds of employees, that means that whoever is maintaining that YouTube channel can use domain permissions on a global scale to keep Bob, who is just now become disgruntled. I've never been gruntled, so I don't know what disgruntled is, but Bob's just become disgruntled, and he's decided that he's going to share everything including your most valuable assets and video to the world. Well, he can't do that in a domain model. He can't download it. You can the manager of that domain through Google Apps can control through Google Apps own permissions what they can do with it. So that's important from a larger viewpoint, not from the standpoint of a smaller business, unless that smaller business has some, videos and things that they want to protect as well, So there are big differences between them.
I have 2 other questions I want to answer. Somebody mentioned earlier or asked about, I think it has to do with saving a blab. As a host or a co-host, if you're recording your blab, you will get an email from Blab letting you know that your blab is ready for download, either as an MP3 file, an MP4 file, or you can download it to YouTube. And you can also do that from your profile. You can go to your profile and download to YouTube. And once it's in YouTube, you can edit it with their the editing features in YouTube. And somebody else asked, they took notice that they see that some people have trouble getting into a blab. And I think what they're talking about is maybe joining a seat where they can't get in and it doesn't work. A lot of times that has to do with the bandwidth on their end. Or sometimes if they're using a phone that's an older phone, like my iPhone 4S, I can't use it to watch a blab or get in on a blab. It's just the technology. It's just not working on. I have to upgrade my phone, but it's probably that's what's happening there. And they would have to do something and change to maybe get a better signal or a better service provider. Nina Trankova from Bulgaria just joined
Nina,
us.
And Art,
Hi,
I'm going to get to you in a
everybody.
minute, Art. I'm going to get to you in a minute, Art.
Thank you for opening the seat to me. I wanted to show you my white tie because we are our Bulgarian image maker helped us, and we have all this white, blue, and gray. That's worth a screen share. Screenshot, I mean. I wanted to feel how it looks like having all that people around. Thank you for coming, and I'll be in 2 hours hosting in Bulgarian. It's Friday evening for Bulgaria. I don't know how many people will show up, but I'm excited how the Bulgarian business will start to operate on Blab. And it's very funny because we have so many funny slang about Blab that it will be really very amusing to hear the conversations. So my name is Nina and I'm from Sofia, Bulgaria. I'm a Google level 3 proficient and I like help businesses with digital communication. If you have time, come on my Blab and join the Circadians. See you.
You take care, Nina. She's also a Circadian, and she really rocks. She really does. Miss Matchmaker, if you might put a link to your site up there. I mean, that would probably get some people to go over there and take a look at that too. Art. Art, here's the deal, is that my background's kind of really varies like everybody's is. Everybody's got different stories. Everybody's always, got their particular skill set, which is what the Circadians are about, is that everybody is equal and everybody matters and everybody's got their own skill set, but that the sum of that skill set's larger than the individual. And in my case, I was information security officer for the state. And so I saw networks from a different standpoint of a person that ran, has a network with 5 machines or 10 machines or 100. You're talking about a network with millions. And so you had to, you think differently. So and that's not saying that's a bigger thing or anything. It's just the way that it is. And so most of the time when people, they've never been in that situation where somebody says, I am the principal of, this elementary school, and I want to be the, omnipotent controller of everything in my domain for this middle school or whatever. And you got to make them feel like they are, but you have to keep them from being able to do that, because if they do, they could open up holes to the entire network. And so there's not very many people that in that arena over there. And I saw Melanie Hall, who trains on, Melanie Hall's up here. She's an excellent trainer on Google Hangouts. And we respect all that stuff. We know that there's other people that do the things that we do and that train, but I don't think she's ever had a network that had 1 million machines on it. And so to be able to help with you, what I tell everybody is I do it just like the big boys do. You know, everything that I do, and the team can tell you that everything I do is that way. Everything is, I think about it from a different viewpoint than, 10 users. I think of it from the viewpoint of a much larger scale. So, Peter Both, there was a question he asked a while ago, but he was the one that asked about ManyCam and about the shared screen. It really would make it easier when they get the question. Yes. Come on in, Rodrigo.
There's a few.
Hello.
Hey, Rodrigo.
Hey, Rodrigo.
Hi.
What's happening, man?
Yeah. What's up? I'm from Portugal. Hi, guys. I just come here out of nowhere, just looking for Blab, and saw the Blab. I didn't knew about the Circadians, so it seems like a great idea. I'm doing some research for myself about human-to-human marketing, and the idea of the Circadians sharing and talking about probably anything, but with an idea to connect people together to talk about some subject, it's amazing. So it's a great pleasure to see you guys here, and I'd like to know a little bit more. I don't know, it seems that everybody has some connection with the Circadians, and I don't know nothing about it. So it's a group that usually gathers here in Blab or another platform.
We gather in Blab to do these kind of presentations, but the other stuff we do is in Google Hangouts, and we're working on some of the structure of that now. Like, we need to do an introduction to make sure that, like, what we do is before you come into what the plan is before you actually come into the Hangouts, because we bring you into the clinics. Yeah. But we do an introduction to make sure you know how your microphone works, to make sure that you know how, to mute your microphone and how to send messages back and forth and do that kind of stuff, so that we know when you get into the clinic that we're not spending time going, does my microphone work? Because those things are 25 minutes, They're very much like, what are we trying to do? Okay. And then you do that, like we're working on time stamping, because we're building a frequently asked questions database that's going to use a time stamping off of the videos. And so Shelly, who may be up there, Shelly and Michelle is creating the playlist. So, it's actually, everybody, thinks that it's actually it's not complicated. It's just, there's a whole lot of work when you do these kind of things. And we know that as the world gets smaller and people become closer together, that all of these walls are going to go down. I mean, they just are,
I'm starting to feel, I don't know if you guys were in the internet back in the 90s when the Mirk and BBS and everything was going around. And I don't know if you guys share the same feeling, that this sense of community that we used to have on those channels are coming back.
Mm-hmm. And that you can see each other now. That's one of the big differences. Is I do think that being a visual and being able to see and have those kind of relationships, it's actually one of the things that, in a sense, that we talked about in the meeting this morning, is that in the clinic this morning, is that, everybody talks about search engine optimization. What we're talking about is strategic engagement optimization. So when we see each other,
I agree 100% with you.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
And by the way, Nina she mentioned that she's open. She's going to do the Bulgarian Blab this today, right? So that's going to be the first one that they do there. But she's building the community in Bulgaria, which is, by the way, it's all going to be one big community. In other words, there's not going to be any separation, and you might have a private community that you're doing for Portugal, but it all comes together in one place. We're actually going to try to keep everything in one place. But I put my email down in there. Stan at the Circadians will send it to me, and I'll be glad to hang out with you and talk to you about that kind of stuff too. But it's see, I've been thinking about this since the 90s. I was this is why they don't let me talk. Okay? is because in the 90s there was a thing called See You See Me, which is the first video call that I ever made.
remember that.
See You See Me.
Yeah.
And I had fiber running to my house in the early 2000s. I had the T1 running in my house in around 95 or so. And
You are lucky. I was in Brazil using the Yahoo chat or something like this.
Yep.
Remember?
Yep. Yeah, I do. I remember. And
Dark Ages.
Yeah. So when we, I got pulled into a video chat through a thing back then. It was called Powwow. I don't know if you remember Powwow.
Yes. And there's many kinds of attempts to do a community, and there was always smashed out by trolls,
Yep. He's giving me the sign up there that that we got 2 minutes, so they'll make me close out here any minute now. That's just the way they won't let me do it because I like the talking part.
I posted one more link, Stan. Learnblab.com/bam brick and mortar. You might want to mention that. And that'll take us to the end.
Brick and mortar is I also ran, I was a national manager for chain of retail stores. I also own my own retail stores. Those retail stores, there was 128 of them. So I have a really good concept of what retail does and how to, what needs to be done there. In a town of 60,000 in a popcorn shop on Valentine's Day, we did $57,000 and we did $100,000 for the week. And it's all about engagement. And if you will, if you want to know about the brick and mortar rescue, we got a site up that we're going to launch, and we're going to have some case studies between now and the first of the year. But it's all about brick and mortar is not going to go away. There are things that are going to change about it. And if you're not on that path to making those changes, you might as well go ahead and close out now, because that guy that just disappeared down there, Michael, that guy is going to be able to help you in your brick and mortar store, whether you like the fact that he's sitting in shorts working or not. Doesn't make any difference at all. It's not about that. It's about how you're going to, get a return on your investment. We ought to talk chambers of commerce. Yes, I'd love to talk chambers of commerce having to do with, that has to do with Google Local. There's most of us in the Circadians are all, well, not just Google Local, but Yelp and other things. And I would love to talk to you about that too. But no, Blab won't kick me off.
I will.
Ron will. Those guys, with the 25 minutes we have of the clinic usually last, longer. We started at 9 o'clock. We started at 9 o'clock, and at 9:43 today, I said, "Listen, I've got to go do something to get ready for this thing today." So,
as George Burns used to say to his wife Gracie, "Say good night, Gracie." So I'll say good night, Stan.
Did you stop